What's up, everybody? I know some of you had expectations that we would hear about Elden Ring at the state of play, but that was just some foolish ambitions. There was no chance that that was going to happen. However, on the bright side, there has been a ridiculous amount of updates on SteamDB regarding the Elden Ring DLC. So today I just want to go over that, and it is looking pretty promising. So for those who don't know or are a first-time viewer of the channel, SteamDB is a site that archives all the updates that are done behind the scene, and that's how you can have a little bit of insight on what the developers are doing on their game before it gets actually released, or if there's any updates coming to the games that are released. Now, in the last couple hours, this is what happened. So 6 hours ago, there was an update quality assurance release. 6 hours ago, quality assurance debug. And then there was PD9, PD7, PD5, PD6, PD10, PD1. I have no idea what that is. But very interestingly, 10 hours ago, there was a development update as well as a dev release and dev debug. Now, what's interesting here is that they're in the debug portion of development, which is pretty much the final touches. I was explaining that to my wife this morning because, of course, as a proper gamer, I woke her up at 4 in the morning to tell her about the Elden Ring updates. And I told her that it's pretty much like Bob Ross putting the last finishing drops of ink on his painting. The last final touches. And someone on Reddit explained it in way better words than I could, so let's check this out. By the way, thank you to Flounder3345 for such an elegant explanation. What you're looking at is a change entry in SteamDB. SteamDB is a third-party website that tracks some of the under-the-hood changes to games apps on Steam that are otherwise invisible to laymen like us. In this case, you see a bunch of encrypted files have been updated in a depot called QA release. Depots in this context are usually for alternate builds of the game, old version, internal testing builds, stuff like that. But they're also used for additional packages, like the DLC, that are tied to the base game. QA is quality assurance, or playtesting. It being deployed via Steam Depot means they're probably testing not just the DLC itself, but that it properly distributes via Steam and integrates into the main game as expected. Similar tests are probably going on for the PS and Xbox versions, but those platforms do not have a public API that can be accessed to view these changes like Steam does. So basically, they've pushed a big update to their version of the game that they use to make sure it's up to snuff for release. It may not be the final test, but it's generally indicative that we are moving towards a release. We also don't know for a fact that this is actually the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, but there really isn't any other explanation that would make sense. And since I saw others asking this earlier this week, nobody is going to be able to decrypt those files unless they work at FromSoft. The depot is password protected, and if it was leaked, they know, and someone would be so incredibly fired. Like I said, thank you for that very coherent and elegant explanation, and it's clear that something's happening. The release is coming very, very soon, sooner than later, especially with all the YouTube channels lining up with having updated their Elden Ring playlist. It's gonna happen very soon. I think if we don't hear from something by February 25th on the 2-year anniversary of Elden Ring, there's something seriously wrong. But I highly doubt that's the case because all the indicators are showing that a release date is sooner than later. Now, I'm not going to put any speculations on it. You guys can draw your own conclusion. I'm just here to give you the info. Now, there's one other topic that I wanted to talk about before we wrap up the video. But for this topic, I'm going to need you to put on a tinfoil hat and clown makeup because it is a rumor, but it's extremely unlikely. What we analyzed today about Elden Ring and SteamDB is factual information, irrefutable. This, on the other hand, has more to do with schizophrenia and pure madness. But Imran Khan on Reset Era said that Bloodborne PC and a PS5 version was at one point in the works, but he hasn't heard anything in literal years, so I wouldn't hold my breath. But Lance was correct there. So I find it kind of funny that someone else is popping off with a Bloodborne rumor. I mean, they've been going around for years and nothing happens. There's nothing that happens every single time. I mean, if there was a PS5 version, that would be amazing. But the consensus among the community, everybody seems to think that they're holding off on the Bloodborne IP to launch Bloodborne 2 on the PlayStation 6, and that might be in what, like 5, 6, 7 years, and that would be a console seller. The same way how they launched the PlayStation 5 with a Demon's Souls remake. If they had a complete remake of Bloodborne or a sequel for the PlayStation 6, it would be an immediate buy for a lot of people. So anyways, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. The Bloodborne rumor is very unlikely, and the Elden Ring information is solid. Something is happening. Let me know your predictions in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Right now, I'm just talking about news because there is no new game to play. But once it comes out, we'll be taking a look at builds, PvP, possibly some stuff behind the scene with Cheat Engine. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure to subscribe or I'm going to force you to fight 8 more gods at once. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.